Part 1. The Wisdom of Solitude. Do we ever stop to wonder why some of us crave solitude more as we grow older? Why certain individuals seem to prefer the gentle quiet of their own space over bustling gatherings? Through the lives of Uncle Mike and Miss Mary, we explore these questions, discovering the nuanced beauty of respecting personal boundaries and honoring the delicate art of social interactions. Let's walk through their experiences and gain insight into how our relationships can be enriched by a better understanding of solitude. Their stories might just change the way we approach our connections with others. Uncle Mike, now 50, finds joy in moments of solitude. He embraces his time alone, savoring simple activities, drinking tea, watching fish glide through his pond, and tending his garden. These quiet moments define his days, allowing him to step back from the demands of social gatherings. His friends, when they meet, now gather at restaurants instead of in his home, preserving his sense of personal space. "You've changed," a relative once observed. But Uncle Mike understands that with each passing year, his priorities shift. He cherishes family, but has gradually drifted away from the social circle of his youth, preferring a life that feels fresh and unencumbered. For many, like Uncle Mike, age brings an appreciation for the quiet rhythms of daily life. A home filled with peace, free from frequent visitors, is a treasure to protect. 1. Visiting as a form of disturbance. Do we always know when our visits are truly welcome? Sometimes, in our eagerness to connect, we might overlook the subtle signs that tell us when space is needed. Uncle Mike's story brings this lesson to light, reminding us to be mindful of others' boundaries, even when our intentions are pure. After reconnecting with an old high school friend nearby, Uncle Mike was thrilled to have a new drinking buddy. Weekends became a ritual of shared meals and laughter, but after a while, his friend's wife began to show discomfort at his visits. Uncle Mike didn't take note, until his friend gently explained that his frequent visits had begun to disrupt their family life. The initial invitation had been casual and warm, yet Uncle Mike's visits had turned from welcome to intrusive. This moment taught him the value of reading between the lines and understanding when hospitality is a kindness, not an open invitation. Friendships, though meaningful, come with unspoken limits. Uncle Mike's experience reminds us that maintaining respect for personal space keeps our relationships harmonious and respectful. 2. Frequent visits can cause trouble. Have we ever spoken a careless word that led to unintended hurt? A single comment, said in passing, can sometimes create rifts we never intended. Miss Mary, a lively and social neighbor, experienced this lesson firsthand, showing us the power of restraint and the wisdom in choosing words carefully. Miss Mary, now retired, spends her days dancing with her neighbors. When rain prevents them from gathering outdoors, they visit each other's homes for tea and conversation. During one of these visits, Mary casually mentioned to a friend that her daughter-in-law seemed somewhat spoiled. A light-hearted comment, or so she thought. But the remark somehow reached her daughter-in-law, and the fallout was painful. Her son confronted her, and the easygoing family dynamic she had once enjoyed shifted. Miss Mary realized that frequent visits and too much conversation could lead to misunderstandings, and she began to cherish a simpler routine. Watching her favorite dramas at home brought a peaceful rhythm to her life. Reflecting on her experience, she found that a lighter, gentler approach in social settings often creates a more comfortable, conflict-free environment. Her story reminds us that, especially as we age, a little restraint and mindfulness go a long way in preserving relationships. Reflections on solitude and connection. Uncle Mike and Miss Mary's stories resonate with simple truths about solitude and connection. They show us that our words, actions, and even our presence can impact others in ways we may not immediately realize. In solitude, there is freedom and clarity. In gentle interactions, there is peace. Together, these elements create a harmony that sustains our relationships, fostering a respectful balance between togetherness and personal space. Let us carry forward these lessons as we navigate our own social circles, keeping the wisdom of solitude close and the art of connection within reach. In today's fast-paced world, the idea of living independently and avoiding unnecessary social interactions has gained significance. One of the key reasons behind this shift is the significant difference in economic status among families, even within the same community. Families with varying economic backgrounds may unintentionally create feelings of inferiority or jealousy when they interact with each other. For example, wealthier families may inadvertently show off their prosperity, making less wealthy families feel uncomfortable or inadequate. This comparison between different economic statuses can create a psychological gap and add a mental burden that disrupts peace of mind. By choosing to live independently and avoiding frequent comparisons, individuals can reduce the mental stress that often comes with envy and jealousy. Each family has its own unique situation, and it's important to focus on one's own life rather than constantly comparing ourselves to others. This focus on personal well-being helps maintain inner peace and prevents unnecessary psychological strain. Moreover, the pressures of modern life can be exhausting, leaving little room for meaningful social interactions. Traditional celebrations, like New Year greetings, have lost their charm as people prefer to stay home, rest, and browse their phones. This shift in behavior reflects the demanding nature of life today, which often leaves people feeling drained and disconnected from others. Living independently also means valuing solitude, which many people misunderstand. Solitude doesn't mean loneliness or having no friends. It's about being comfortable with oneself and finding contentment in one's own company. As we age, solitude becomes even more important. People around us may gradually leave, and being able to cope with solitude helps us face the challenges that come with aging. Additionally, avoiding frequent visits and social obligations reduces both physical and mental stress, especially for the elderly. Hosting guests can be tiring and burdensome, leading to various troubles. Therefore, learning to enjoy one's own company becomes a vital skill for maintaining peace of mind. In summary, living independently and avoiding unnecessary social interactions is crucial for maintaining inner peace, avoiding comparisons, and finding true contentment in a demanding world. It's about focusing on what truly matters and embracing a lifestyle that brings tranquility and happiness. Set aside time for self-reflection. Dedicate a specific part of the day, such as early mornings or evenings, to reflect on your personal achievements and goals. This regular practice will help you stay focused on what matters most to you and avoid being affected by external comparisons. Engage in solitary hobbies. Find activities like reading, gardening, painting, or walking in nature that bring you joy and relaxation without the need for social validation. Spending time on hobbies can be a great way to embrace solitude and cultivate inner peace. Limit exposure to social media. Allocate a small, intentional time slot each day for social media, as it can fuel unnecessary comparisons. By minimizing your exposure, you're less likely to compare your life to others and more likely to focus on your own well-being. Practice mindfulness in daily activities. Whether it's cooking, cleaning, or doing household chores, practice mindfulness to stay present. This will help you find contentment in simple tasks and reduce the need for external validation as you focus more on inner satisfaction. Create a comfortable, personalized living space. Arrange your surroundings in a way that reflects your personality and brings you comfort. By designing a cozy and peaceful home environment, you can enhance your sense of independence and enjoy the tranquility that comes from a well-curated personal space. Part 2. The greatest asset at 50. Health, family, and more. 1. Health, the cornerstone of fulfillment. When we reach 50, everything shifts. By this point, many of us have built careers, raised families, and accumulated wealth. But is it possible that the greatest asset we have at this stage isn't money, property, or possessions? Instead, it's something more fundamental: our health. At 50, good health is priceless. Imagine a life without serious health concerns at this age. What a rare and fortunate position to be in. Unfortunately, ignoring our health earlier in life often catches up with us later, leading to preventable issues and regrets. Take Mrs. Emily, for example. She's in her 50s now, but in her younger years, she didn't prioritize her well-being. She skipped meals, avoided exercise, and neglected routine medical checkups. Her unhealthy habits took a toll. She gained weight, developed high blood pressure, and spent frequent visits in the hospital. Though Mrs. Emily's sons were always there to support her, it wasn't without strain. Her eldest son, in particular, expressed how her declining health was taking a significant emotional and physical toll on his own family life. This moment of reflection hit hard. It was a wake-up call for Mrs. Emily. She realized that her health was not just her responsibility, it was also impacting her loved ones. Determined to make a change, she made small but impactful adjustments to her lifestyle. Over the course of 6 months, Mrs. Emily lost weight, gained energy, and started managing her blood pressure. Her skin improved, and she felt more mobile and active. Today, Mrs. Emily enjoys a much healthier life. She rarely gets sick and is more vibrant than ever. Her children no longer have to worry about her well-being to the extent they once did, allowing them to focus on their own families and careers. Yet, they still find time to spend quality moments with her. Mrs. Emily's transformation is a powerful reminder. Health is the most valuable treasure we can possess, especially as we grow older. Without good health, we risk not only our own happiness, but also the well-being of those around us. Unexpected medical bills can cripple families financially, and chronic illnesses can add strain to relationships. By nurturing our health, we not only reduce the burden on our loved ones, but we also open the door to a richer, more fulfilling life. 2. Family, the true measure of success. While health is crucial, family holds a different, equally profound value as we reach 50. Imagine achieving every ambition: a successful career, financial security, the picture of stability, only to find it meaningless because we've lost what matters most: our family. Family is the heart of our happiness, the true marker of a life well lived. Consider the story of a man who seemed to have it all. He was respected in his career, financially secure, with a beautiful home and loving children. Yet, he took his family for granted, succumbing to the lure of infidelity. One affair led to another until one day, a woman he was involved with became pregnant. His wife, heartbroken, chose divorce and took their children with her. Although he tried to make a life with the other woman, he found himself restless and unsatisfied. Eventually, she too left, remarking that he was not fit to be a husband or father. At 50, despite his achievements, he felt hollow. His home was quiet, and the joy he once took for granted was gone. His wealth could not fill the void left by his family's absence. He found himself longing for the love and companionship he had forsaken. The man's story is a powerful reminder that material success cannot replace the warmth of a family's love. He learned too late that a stable family, grounded in honesty, respect, and fidelity, is far more valuable than any possession. His regrets teach us that true happiness lies not in status or possessions, but in relationships. When we honor and cherish our families, we create a foundation of support, love, and joy that sustains us as we grow older. Here are 5 ways to nurture and protect this most important treasure. 1. Prioritize time together. Set aside regular family time, whether for meals, weekends, or holidays. Even a few hours each week can strengthen bonds and provide a foundation of togetherness that lasts. 2. Communicate with respect and openness. Speak with honesty and listen with empathy. In difficult conversations, focus on understanding, not winning. Respectful communication builds trust and makes family members feel valued. 3. Express appreciation frequently. Show gratitude for the small things. Acknowledging each other's efforts, however small, fosters love and reinforces the value of being there for each other. 4. Celebrate each other's achievements. Take the time to recognize accomplishments, from the smallest to the biggest. Celebrating each other's successes keeps the family strong and reminds us that we're all part of a team. 5. Forgive and move forward. Family relationships can face misunderstandings and hurt. Practice forgiveness, remembering that love is worth more than pride. Moving past mistakes fosters resilience and keeps relationships intact. At 50, we understand that the love and unity of family are priceless. It's what fills our hearts, not the things we own. By nurturing these bonds, we build a legacy of love that carries on, a treasure we can cherish for a lifetime. 3. Financial stability, a secure foundation for the future. In life, few assets are as vital as financial stability. We spend our younger years building careers, saving for retirement, and hoping for a future where we can live comfortably and independently. As we age, our health and energy decline, and often, so does our income. Yet, some of us, driven by a desire to provide for our children, may give away our savings prematurely, believing it makes little difference. But securing our own financial future is essential. While family support can be invaluable, personal savings offer a much-needed safeguard. Many elderly individuals who have transferred their assets to children too early face financial struggles, sometimes even leading to family conflicts. When misunderstandings arise, parents may feel unappreciated, while children might feel overwhelmed. Such rifts can strain families that were once close-knit. To prevent this, we should prioritize a financial plan, ideally by age 50, that allows us to cover our own expenses without placing a burden on our children. Consider Mrs. T, a 60-year-old mother whose son recently moved out after marriage. When she required eye surgery, she chose to use her own savings rather than ask her son for financial support. Although he took time off to care for her, her ability to handle the expenses independently brought her peace. This small yet significant decision allowed her to maintain her dignity and spared her son any financial strain. Mrs. T's experience highlights a powerful lesson. Financial independence not only promotes dignity, but also transforms aging from a period of potential dependency to one of self-sufficiency and peace. The significance of financial planning. Mrs. T's story is a reminder of the importance of securing a stable financial future. Amid daily demands and responsibilities, it's easy to overlook the long term. But prioritizing financial independence is crucial for a secure and comfortable life as we age. By holding on to her savings, Mrs. T could face a health challenge without burdening her family, strengthening the emotional bond with her son without adding financial pressure. While our children are central to our lives, we must also shoulder the responsibility of our own well-being. As we approach 50, taking steps to evaluate and strengthen our finances becomes essential. This may include re-evaluating savings plans, seeking professional guidance, or making strategic investments. Building a safety net means we can look forward to our later years with a sense of security and self-reliance, demonstrating to the next generation the value of prudent financial planning. Ultimately, financial stability in our later years extends beyond money. It's about controlling our lives, preserving our dignity, and fostering strong, healthy relationships with loved ones. By prioritizing financial health, we prepare for a future filled with peace, independence, and the fulfillment of our hard work. Mrs. T's story encourages us all to take proactive steps today to ensure a bright, secure tomorrow. The fourth greatest asset, a positive mental state, ***. Reaching the age of 50 marks a turning point, where maintaining a positive mental state is more important than ever. As we age, our mental health plays an essential role in both our emotional and physical well-being. In cultures worldwide, including our own, awareness is growing around mental health's profound impact on life quality and longevity. When we nurture a positive mindset, we do more than lift our spirits. We strengthen our physical health. Research tells us that those with a positive mental outlook face fewer chronic ailments and heal more quickly from injuries or surgeries. As we grow older, our resilience naturally declines, but a positive attitude can bolster our body's defenses. This mindset helps reduce stress, keep blood pressure in check, and promote heart health, all crucial elements for aging gracefully. At this stage in life, we encounter critical choices about how we spend our time, manage our finances, and navigate retirement. With a calm and optimistic outlook, decision-making becomes clearer and wiser. This balanced mental state guides us toward more fulfilling and less stressful life paths. 1. Start each day with gratitude. Begin each morning by reflecting on 3 things you're grateful for. These could be simple moments from the previous day, like a pleasant conversation or a good meal. Write them down in a journal to reinforce a positive outlook. Over time, this practice shifts our focus from challenges to the many small joys in life. 2. Spend time in nature daily. Go outside each day, even if just for a few minutes. Take a walk, sit in a park, or simply stand in the sun. Being in natural surroundings reduces stress, boosts mood, and gives us a break from routine. Aim for at least 10 to 15 minutes, preferably in the morning or late afternoon when sunlight is softer. 3. Practice deep breathing exercises. Engage in deep breathing exercises for 5 minutes every day. Inhale deeply through your nose, hold for a few seconds, and exhale slowly. This technique lowers stress hormones, relaxes muscles, and helps us manage anxiety. Try doing it first thing in the morning or any time you feel tense. 4. Limit media and news exposure. Set boundaries around news and media consumption, as constant exposure can heighten stress and negativity. Limit your news check-ins to once or twice a day and avoid looking at screens right before bed. Instead, spend this time reading, meditating, or listening to calming music. Let us tell you the story of John, who had always been a curious person. He loved keeping up with current events and prided himself on being well informed. It began innocently enough, checking the news in the morning with his coffee, and again in the evening after dinner. But over time, this habit became all-consuming. The headlines screamed about political chaos, environmental disasters, and personal tragedies. John couldn't seem to pull himself away. It wasn't just the content, it was the sheer volume. Each time John opened his phone or turned on the TV, a wave of negativity washed over him. He'd feel the weight of the world pressing on his chest. Some days, the sense of helplessness was overwhelming. He found himself shaking his head at stories of corruption, violence, and injustice. The endless cycle of breaking news left him anxious, stressed, and unable to sleep. His mind buzzed with worry, and it didn't seem to matter how much sleep he actually got. He felt exhausted and on edge, always thinking about the next disaster that might unfold. One evening, as John sat in his living room scrolling through his phone, his wife, Claire, walked in. She could see the look on his face, tight jaw, furrowed brows, and knew immediately what was happening. For weeks now, she had watched him become more withdrawn, his mood darker, his patience thinner. "John," she said gently, "you've been glued to that phone all evening. Why don't we turn off the news for a bit and do something different?" John sighed and put his phone down, rubbing his face. "I don't know, Claire. I feel like I have to know what's happening. I feel like if I don't stay on top of things, I'll fall behind. How can I ignore what's going on in the world?" "I get it," she replied, sitting down beside him. "But all this constant information, all the negativity, it's taking a toll on you. I've noticed it. You're not yourself anymore." John stared at her, unsure of what to say. He knew she was right, but the idea of disconnecting seemed foreign. It wasn't that he didn't care about the world. It was that, lately, it seemed like he couldn't handle the weight of it all. The tension in his shoulders, the endless loop of bad news, and the sleepless nights had drained him. "I'm tired, Claire," he admitted. "I'm really tired. I don't feel like I can escape it. It's always there, and I don't know how to stop." Claire took a deep breath, trying to think of something that might break through his frustration. "What if we set some boundaries? We can still be informed, but we don't have to live in this constant state of anxiety. Let's try something different for a week. Let's limit the time we spend on media and news. How about we check it once in the morning and once in the evening? Just once or twice a day. After that, we focus on something else." John looked at her, considering the idea. "I don't know if I can do it," he confessed. "It feels like the news is everywhere, Claire. It's hard to turn it off." Claire nodded, understanding his reluctance. "I know it's hard, but maybe we don't have to turn it off entirely. What if, after checking the news in the morning, we spend some time doing something that feels good? Reading, listening to music, or even meditating. You're the one who always says that when you focus on the positive, you feel better. Maybe it's time to put that into practice." John wasn't convinced, but there was a part of him that felt a flicker of hope. Maybe she was right. Maybe limiting the noise from the outside world would help him reconnect with himself and find peace again. After all, he had tried everything else. More news, more information, more updates. And it had only made things worse. What did he have to lose? The next morning, John set an alarm for 7 a.m., as usual. He grabbed his coffee and opened the news app, scrolling through the headlines, just like he had for years. But this time, instead of diving deeper into every article, he stopped after 15 minutes. He put the phone down and looked out the window, noticing the sunlight streaming through the trees. It felt different. Quiet. He felt his shoulders relax, just a little. In the evening, instead of his usual ritual of watching the news while he ate dinner, John decided to try something Claire suggested: listening to calming music. He picked an album he used to enjoy and let the soft melodies fill the room. For the first time in weeks, he felt his mind slow down, his racing thoughts ease. The next day, he woke up with a little more energy. It wasn't a dramatic shift, but something had changed. He didn't feel the same crushing weight on his chest. His mind wasn't racing with the latest headline. That night, instead of scrolling through news articles before bed, he spent an hour reading a book he'd been meaning to finish. He found that when he turned off the media, he had more space to focus on the things that truly mattered to him. As the days passed, John continued this new routine, checking the news in the morning, then focusing on other activities that nourished him. Walking in the park, meditating for 10 minutes, cooking meals, reading, and listening to music. He noticed that his anxiety lessened, and even his sleep improved. He was no longer glued to his phone late at night, his mind buzzing with the chaos of the world. Instead, he found himself drifting off with thoughts of the people he loved and the beauty in his daily life. A week later, John reflected on the changes. He felt calmer, less reactive, and more present. He still cared about the world around him, but now he realized that he didn't need to drown in it to be informed. The world's challenges were still there, but by limiting the constant flow of news, he had found space to breathe. He could still stay connected without being overwhelmed. "Maybe you were right, Claire," John said one evening as they sat together. "Setting boundaries with the news has made a difference. I'm not as stressed anymore. I'm sleeping better, too." Claire smiled and squeezed his hand. "I'm glad, John. It's not about ignoring the world. It's about giving yourself the space to live in it more peacefully. And I think you're doing that now." From that point on, John continued to limit his media consumption. He knew that the world was full of challenges, but he also knew that he didn't have to let them dictate his mental state. By setting boundaries and focusing on what brought him peace, he was able to stay informed without drowning in negativity. And, most importantly, he was able to reclaim his sense of calm, one day at a time. 5. Connect with loved ones regularly. Make it a habit to reach out to a friend or family member every day, whether for a quick call, text, or coffee. Meaningful connections boost emotional well-being, reduce feelings of isolation, and bring joy. Schedule weekly or bi-weekly gatherings to keep relationships strong, enhancing both our happiness and sense of belonging. A positive mental state doesn't only serve us, it enhances our relationships. As we approach 50 and beyond, the bonds we have with family, friends, and colleagues take on new meaning. Strong, healthy relationships nourish us emotionally, adding layers of support and companionship. However, negative emotions can strain these ties, inviting unnecessary conflict. When we embrace positivity, we bring greater empathy, understanding, and compassion into our connections, strengthening these invaluable bonds. Society often urges us to measure success by comparison or the achievements of others, including our children. However, placing too much pressure on ourselves or loved ones for societal approval can lead to burnout. Focusing instead on our health, happiness, and inner fulfillment brings a balanced approach to life, one centered on contentment over comparison. This stage of life can be a time to savor the rewards of hard work and discover fresh joys. By focusing on our well-being and embracing simple pleasures, we allow ourselves to create a meaningful, joyful second half of life, one rich with purpose and peace. Maintaining a positive mental state at 50 is essential for physical health, better decision-making, stronger relationships, and personal happiness. This mindset not only leads to a healthier and more joyful life, but also encourages us to appreciate our achievements and live a fulfilling life moving forward.